Hey, what's going on, folks? How we doing tonight? It is Recap Wednesday. We do have a good little host, a little co-panel with us. Got some more checking in here in a little bit. As you see, the someone wants action already, and the wants to say hi. All right, hi Fee, how you doing, baby? All right, we're gonna bring in our guest real quick. Down, down, little girl. Down. Okay, all right. First, we're going to bring in Melissa. Melissa, how are you?
Hi, Adam. I'm doing good. Thank you.
Getting over COVID? You doing all better now?
A lot better. Yes, thank
Good,
you.
good, good. That's what we like to hear. Next, we're going to bring on Mr. Ravens guy, Matthew. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for having me on, Adam. What's going on, Melissa? I'm glad you're feeling better. It was nice to chat with you a little bit before we went live.
Same.
So, anyway, like I said, Matt, we're going to wait till Evan gets here. We'll talk about that game.
Yay.
Are we actually gonna start with my Niners? Because it was
I
Thursday
guess
night
so, because it
football?
was Thursday night. It was Thursday night, huh?
I'll say
Yes,
this,
we
man.
are. We're going to start.
It's getting down to the nitty gritty of the season when you're just stressed out come Wednesday or Thursday, just knowing that you got to sit through treachery. That is, especially for me. Holy hell, man, this has been bad. Our wide receivers haven't scored a touchdown in 11 weeks. It's pitiful.
Melissa, how exciting was it to see Mr. Kittle on Thursday night? Always seems to show up in prime time. Had a really big game, and I'm sure you were feeling a lot better watching Kittle break a 64-yard or 55-yard pass into the end zone. BCP on fire.
I loved it. I'm spoiled this year. Kittle has not had a lot of opportunities to show off what he can do, and for it to be reminiscent of Steve Young and Brett Jones in the double fade or fake out touchdown pass that Shannon Sharp all week long was saying that he's never been that wide open, was really special, and that it was a 2 touchdown game for him was special for me as a George Kittle fan. So the fact that he has 2 of them this year is a huge deal. So I'm happy. We haven't swept the Pete Carroll Niners since before Russell Wilson was there, so that was a huge deal for me. And the only downside was I was still kind of sick, and that Diamador Lenore was robbed of a pick 6 because they called that bogus roughing the passer call on Nick Bosa.
That was kind of cheesy.
So,
but we have one more guest joining us all the way from California. What's up, buddy?
What's going on, Adam? How you guys doing?
What's going on?
Good, good. Jason, you know Melissa. Matt at the bottom. You're next to you.
How's it going?
I don't know. Did we do a show? Did we do a show? One of the recaps? Matt, were you on with Jason, or Jason not on with that show?
We might have met. There was like 17 people on that show. So,
wow.
Jason, what did you think of the Niners and Seahawks?
What did I think of the Niners and
We're
Seahawks?
bringing in one more.
Mm-hmm.
My guy.
What's up, Jets?
What's up? What's going on, guys?
Hi, Chaos.
And ladies, guys and gals.
Chaos.
What's going on?
One of my favorite guests I've had on all year long, man. What's going on, buddy?
Oh, thanks, brother. Not much. Just getting ready for a big game tomorrow. We got to pretty much win out all 3. So there we go.
We're just talking.
Jason, I'm dying to hear your thoughts. Jason, please. I'm dying to hear your thoughts.
On Niners and Seahawks?
Mm-hmm.
I think right now the 49ers at this point in time are the best team in the NFC. With all due respect to the Philadelphia Eagles, Right now, the 49ers are clicking on all cylinders, and Brock Purdy sure does not look like Mr. Irrelevant out there. He has a firm grasp on that offense. Got to give the Niners props. They have the top overrated defense. Their offense is clicking. Now they have Christian McCaffrey. They're going to be a very tough team to beat coming down the stretch here.
Yes, thank you.
I completely agree with that, Jason. Yeah, this team's firing on all cylinders right now, and they're going to be tough to stop. And did they get Debo back this week or not?
Yeah, I think they do.
Or is he out for a little bit? Melissa, you'd have a better read on that. Maybe even Chaos would have a better read on that.
He's out for a bit. We don't want to rush him back. I think earliest he'll be back is the Raiders game, if not the Cardinals game, because they don't want him to go in dry to the playoffs.
Matt, thoughts on the Thursday night game?
Oh man, it was nice to see Kittle back to being himself. I just think that he's really been bitten by the injury bug, and he just hasn't been on the field as consistently as he would like to. I do agree that the 49ers might be the best team in the NFC, and it really everything changed when McCaffrey got there, honestly. And just seeing McCaffrey have the spark of playing with a playoff-bound team for the first time in years, he looks rejuvenated, and that's a scary offense going into January because you got to deal with McCaffrey, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, and then that defense, man. They're going to cause problems, and if they go to the Super Bowl, I would not be shocked. Even
I love how
playing
Noah talks about Jordan Mason.
Well, why would we talk about Jordan Mason when he's barely
He's
used?
the bowling ball at the end of the game.
It's so much more fun to talk about Jay Greenlaw and Fred Warner.
That's a pretty good linebacking duo. They're not as good as the Ravens linebacking duo, but they're good.
Well, I would not expect you to think he's better than Patrick Queen and what is it, Roquan Smith that you traded for?
Yes, Roquan has been an absolute stud since he got here. The man is a tackling machine.
I will take that as the compliment that it was meant to ask.
Chet's Chaos, if you had been backstage with us before, we were talking about how maybe Trayvon Walker is Mr. Irrelevant this year instead of BCP. Only because they play you guys tomorrow night. It's the only reason it got brought up.
That's funny.
So, Niners Chaos, what did you think of the Niners Seahawks game?
I find it interesting because it kind of plays to what our coaching staff has been trying to tell their young quarterback, and that is, in this system, the quarterback doesn't have to be a hero. The quarterback has to manage the game and just make the easy look easy. Saleh says it all the time, and I think he gets it from Shanahan, and it's just the system is built to really adjust to what the defense is giving you. If you're properly managing the game, every play you're taking what the defense is giving you. You're reading the defense and you're trying to win that battle. What is the defense? What are they trying to do? What are we doing? Where are my people going to be? Where's that easy? Whatever it is, 5 yards, 10 yards. Then you get it into the playmaker's hand and let them try to turn, good, reasonable gains into bigger gains. I think Zach Wilson needs to fly out and meet Brock Purdy for dinner and maybe take some pointers on, hey, how do you manage to just, again, take what's being given to you. Don't play hero ball. I also think what's really good for the Niners is they get to see, hey, we don't have to spend all kinds of money to retain Jimmy G next year. If Trey Lance is not going to work out, we have a guy who can run this offense, who's been running it. We have evidence, that this offense is ran when the offensive line is clicking, when the entire team is doing what they're supposed to be doing. You don't need a superstar. So they got Trey Lance. They already gave up so much capital for him. I think that this incident and this opportunity for Mr. Irrelevant was very relevant for the Niners because they can go into the offseason now and not have to wonder, should we pay $15-20 million for Jimmy G to be an insurance policy for Trey Lance? You got Brock Purdy, and the way he's playing, if he keeps it up, he's going to be competing with Trey Lance for the starting job.
Almost just
Absolutely.
getting smells left and right up there in that middle screen.
I was trying so hard not to like break my face open. Like, I'm just so happy that the era of 10 is finally like within sight, and it's a glorious day to be a Niner fan.
Your joy disgusts me
All right.
in the most respectful way possible.
So we're gonna move on to the Saturday, and this game just, I thought it was over at halftime, but apparently Vikings had other plans. Thoughts on this crazy comeback that will clinch the NFC North?
That was a wild game. It's crazy that the greatest regular season comeback and the greatest Super Bowl comeback in the history of the league is Matt Ryan is on the losing end of both of them. It's just that guy has awful.
That
luck.
was a funny meme, though.
It
That
was
was a funny meme.
that Vikings team's got a lot of grit, man. I don't know if they're built to go deep in the playoffs, with Philly and San Francisco and a resurging Green Bay, either they don't have a high chance, but don't let Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs right now. I was shocked, man, because that game was, I turned it off at the halftime and I went to a Christmas party. I didn't even think it was going to be close.
A game?
And I ended up having to catch it on NFL Network on the replay.
Jason,
Yeah.
this is the game you woke up. This is the game you woke up to.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I was bewildered. I mean, completely stunned. And if you're Colts head coach Jeff Saturday, what the hell do you say to your team after a major serious choke job like this? Do you even say anything to your team after this? Obviously, it was a situation where the Colts packed it in, but give the Vikings credit. They stuck it out, and they made the adjustments that the Colts clearly didn't make. I kind of echo Jet's chaos here. I don't know if this means that we should start taking the Vikings seriously, especially going into the playoffs, because we still don't know what to make of Minnesota. I was about ready to puke my guts out just because I do not like seeing the Vikings win on any level whatsoever, being a Packers fan. But I have to admit, they sacked up and they took it to the Colts. And Matty Ice cold, because bad enough that you blow that 27-10 or 27-3 lead at the Super Bowl. Now you got to come back and deal with this. Man, that's a hard way to go out, man.
28-3.
28-3. Thank you very much. I stand corrected. So yeah, that's.
I love it because I can't stand Matt Ryan. So, there's no way he's better than Joe Flacco ever. And that's like the 2008 draft class right there.
Yeah.
Flacco's still elite.
Jets.
I think you cut out, Adam.
Any thoughts?
I'm back. I'm back.
Any thoughts on this game?
On this game, the comeback was amazing. I mean, look, it's one of those things. I think that one team thinks they have it in the bag, they lose that intensity, and then they can't get it back. That's what you saw happen. It was like they just kind of checked out. They lost that focus, and once you do that, sometimes you just can't get it back. And Minnesota took advantage and did what they had to do. I think their issue is defense. It's hard to play good teams. That's when you get exposed, though. When you don't have the defense, that's when you get exposed. When you play other good teams, and you could win in a shootout, and you can come out on top in a game that's really high scoring, but can you do it 3 in a row, right? Can you do it with the, like you have to do it with the consistency to win a Super Bowl, make a playoff run? I typically think that you're not going to do it that way just because the statistics. When you have a bad defense, every game is going to be really close. Every game is going to be one of those toss-up type games. I'd much rather, put my money on a team like Philadelphia or San Francisco because you get good defense and you get consistency, and you have two teams there that are able to take control of the game and not leave it up to just a coin toss.
That Delvin Cook 64-yard splash play out of the half was really the eye wakener for the Vikings. I meant. Melissa, thoughts?
The Colts are tanking. Matt Ryan should never ever be a quarterback ever for the rest of anyone's lifetime. That was the dumbest move the Indianapolis Colts made. And they thought Wentz and Rivers were bad. And you know what? Kudos to the Vikings. They came back.
Before we move on, Adam, I
Right.
want to kind of build off what Melissa was saying.
Okay.
For years, the Indianapolis Colts have had Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck. It's about time they have shitty quarterbacks again. I'm so happy to see it. It just it brings like a warmness to my heart that they struck lightning in a bottle twice, and it was just so it was so infuriating to see Peyton Manning destroy the league for years, and then they have one bad year with Curtis Painter. They tanked, got Andrew Luck, and then all of a sudden they don't build around him, and he leaves at 30 years old. It's nothing. There's nothing greater than seeing this franchise not be able to find a competent quarterback. They had noodle arm Phillip Rivers, and then they had Carson Wentz, who doesn't know his left from his right, and now they got Matt Ryan, who is beyond washed, and it brings me joy. And I'm
MVP Matt Ryan.
I could be the MVP throwing to Julio Jones in his prime. Jeez, Tony Gonzalez. That's just.
I'm sorry, I laughed so hard, but that really took me by surprise. Like I did not expect you to go there.
I have some angst towards the look. The top two worst football games I've ever attended live in person was 3 weeks ago against the Denver Broncos with the Ravens, and watching Russell Wilson try to shot put a ball 25 yards downfield, and then I sat in the rain when Peyton Manning put up a 50 biscuit on us in M&T Bank in one of his last years with the Colts. And I think he threw for like 7 touchdowns that game. So, yeah. And it was in pouring down rain. So I will forever have ire in my heart towards the Colts. And that's just not because they left Baltimore before I was born. So I don't care about that. My dad's generation is the grumpy pants about it, but that's about it.
I just wanted to show you a quick that your boy Kyle Juszczyk made the Pro Bowl again.
It's a joke. It's Pat Ricard made the Pro Bowl, Mark Andrews made the Pro Bowl, and so did Devin Duvernay. They haven't done shit since like week 3. So
okay, but it's names. It's like okay, did you watch the year in 2020 when Bobby Tunyon had his like one solo healthy season and he balled out, and because he was on the Packers and no one knew his name, he didn't get voted into the Pro Bowl. The one that got voted into the Pro Bowl that year, simply because of where he played, was Evan Ingram, and he was trash that year. But because he played for the New York Football Giants, he got in because he had a big name. He was a first-round pick, and he was in New York.
No, that's a fair assessment. I'm sorry about going on my little tangent about the Colts, but it just made me happy.
You're allowed. It's all good. All good. Well, Matt, we're gonna wait till Evan gets here for the.
I knew you were.
Saturday.
I already know because Evan needs to bask in his glory for a little bit, so I'm well aware.
So that moved us to that Saturday night game, which was a pretty good thriller. Tied on the 2-point conversion, and Tyler Bass kicked the game winner. And the Buffalo Bills, they didn't wrap up the division, did they? Not yet.
No, they earned a playoff berth. They're not division champs yet.
Okay.
As much
You know
as
what?
this pains me, I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. Adam, it's interesting about that game because I thought at least that Sean McDermott got out coached by the Dolphins in that game. I thought Mike McDaniel went in with a good game plan. Dolphins executed it very well. I thought Tua played much better in the conditions than what he's had and throughout his history. But I said a few weeks back we were going to really find out a lot about the Dolphins as far as how serious they are as contenders. That was almost about a month ago. Here they are now.
That
They've
was right
lost
before
three in
the
a
San
row.
Francisco game, Jay, right?
Yep.
That was right
Yeah,
before the
right
San
before-
Francisco game. We talked about that.
Yep, right before the San Francisco game. And so here now they've lost to 3 playoff caliber teams, and they have another tough schedule coming down the stretch. They play Green Bay this weekend, which, I mean, look, Green Bay, they're 6-8, but they're not going to be an easy win. The Dolphins are starting to show some the thing with them is that their defense gives up a lot of big plays. And it's a good thing that their offense can score points to keep up in a track meet because their defense gives up a lot of big plays. But still, credit to Miami for sticking in that game. Again, I thought Mike McDaniel outcoached Sean McDermott. They just had the elements in that hell of a field goal kick to win the game for them. But I thought Miami, for all intents and purposes, played well. But I'm now starting to have some concerns about them. And I'm even having some concerns about the Bills going into the postseason because Buffalo's defense right now, man, it feels like they're rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic. And
their
they
defense
need
is
to figure.
bad.
Yeah, their defense has been really porous the last 5 or 6 games. They got to find a way to plug some of these holes really quick, or they're going to be out of the postseason faster than they got in it.
Jets?
I don't count them out though with Buffalo's having Josh Allen, even though I was a proponent that Lamar was better up until this year.
Can I ask you guys a question since I'm not an AFC fan? Does it feel like the number 1 seed in the AFC is kind of cursed right now?
Yes.
I mean, the Ravens were 1 and done. The Titans were 1 and done. It feels like if you get that first seat in the bye, you're like automatically like 1 and done now.
Not to relive old painful memories too long, but when the
I
Ravens,
only mentioned it because people were shocked when you guys were 14-2 and you guys lost to the Titans, especially the way you lost to the Titans.
I said it to a lot of people that I'm friends with that are fans, and I said it a lot on social media. That year we were just blowing teams out of the water, and the fact that we were sitting Lamar in the fourth quarter of like a quarter of the games, and then we sat him week 17, then we had a bye. It was 21 days in between games that Lamar stepped on the field with the starting offense. We sat everybody in week 17 that year. We had pretty much a practice squad playing against Pittsburgh, and I think we still beat them. And it just really, I'm sorry.
The Trace McSorley game?
I think it was the
Was that
RG3 game.
McSorley? Was that the McSorley game?
No, that
I'm
was the
not
RG3 game to end the year.
That was the last. That was the RG3 game. But it just really ruined the entire team chemistry that we sat everybody, and there was no continuity. And at that point, practicing in January, you're not going full speed. You're not hitting every day. You're the game. You can't replicate game rhythm in practice. Everybody that's ever played knows that you're not going to go full speed against your own teammates. And we just came out flat. We came out with no energy, and Tennessee wanted it more. And that's our rivalry with Tennessee in the playoffs goes back 25 years, it seems like. So back in the old AFC Central. So they wanted it more, and we've never really recovered from that. It's been a lot of heartache since then.
Jets, anything on this game?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Dolphins played well enough to win. You know that you got to take your hats off to them. They were against the wall. I mean, they lost a couple of games. It's a division game. The AFC East, we beat up on each other like a lot of division rivals. You know, we play each other tough. And Miami went in there and played really tough. At the end of the day, Buffalo was able to hold on. You know, Buffalo's got a little bit of a problem right now with their defense. You know, they've had some injuries. They've been banged up. and they're having trouble with the whole next man up mentality. They're a little off. They're not as dominating and scary as they've been. And that's going to be an issue for them. Teams know already, teams are coming up with schemes and plans to control and contain Josh Allen. They're not making it easy for him. So one of the things that Buffalo had going for him was they also had a defense that would get you 1, 2, 3 and out, keep getting Josh Allen on the field. Now that you can drive on Buffalo a little bit, eat up some clock, keep Allen off the field, not let him have his way all day, it makes it more challenging for them. And this is an opportunity for playoff teams. Like if it's the Ravens, if it's Kansas City, whoever comes across them, it's an opportunity. Their defense is just not what it was last year. They're not playing with that dominance. And we'll see if they're able to come together in the last few weeks. But if not, they're going to be very beatable.
Yeah, I think Raheem Mostert had, 105 yards rushing by halftime in that game?
Yeah, he was running right through him.
Yeah, he ran roughshod all over him.
Von
Jim
Miller was
Wilson was a
a
scratch
huge
show.
key to that defense.
Yep.
Von being out, that whole defense fell apart. He was like the glue, and they're reeling right now, and I love it. personally.
Yeah, Milano's been banged up. I mean, he's back now, but Milano definitely was slowed down and banged up a little bit. So he's got to get 100%. I mean, he might be 100% already, but that's kind of hindered them too. So, but yeah, the Von Miller thing is just takes away that extra pressure against the pass. So.
Me personally, I am loving every last second of the Miami Dolphins failure. And it's not only because they chirped against my team, but it's really because of the Tua incident and the concussion of 4 days, because I cannot stand how many bogus roughing the passer calls we're getting now, and all these games are being decided on these messed up calls, and you have the Tuas and the Bradys and everyone else calling for these flags that they don't deserve, all because the Miami Dolphins screwed up and enforced this new rule and made it harder for defenders. And as a defensive fan, I am enjoying their downfall very much.
Jets, before you rule, can we talk about your game real quick?
Sure. Before I roll.
You doing a show tonight?
Yeah, I gotta get my show get going soon. I got a guy who's gonna eat a 14-inch pizza for every $100 in super chats. He ate 13 about 6 weeks ago. He ate 13 hot dogs on air.
That's awesome.
I hope it's not Chicago deep dishes, because that's a lot of bread.
Yeah, they're these giant slices that are the equivalent of a 14-inch pie, but he got this giant 28-inch pizza or something like that.
This guy's name would be Joey Chestnut, would it?
No, and he's not nearly as fast. The show ended up going like 3 and 4 hours because everybody wanted to see him finish the hot dogs. So I couldn't get off. I couldn't get the stream to end.
So what happened in your game, Jets? Besides the Lions wanted this more.
There was
Yay, this is the Lions game.
The Jets are like that typical team trying to learn how to win, right? And finding ways to lose. And they played well enough to win the whole game. They really did. Their defense actually technically held the Detroit offense to 10 points. They got 7 points on a punt return touchdown, and they got 3 points on a Zach interception that, where the defense actually did great. They came out and did a 1, 2, 3 and out, but it was already in field goal territory. So the defense held Detroit to 10 points. Their defense is truly elite. It's people have got to look out. The Jets have a real defense. It's no joke. But, Zach back, he's rusty. He wasn't too good. He hasn't been good even without being rusty. He had some great plays. He had some bad plays. But I'll tell you, at the end of the day, they lost that day. They lost that game because of Robert Saleh's inexperience as a head coach and mismanaging timeouts. Now, I don't know if they would have won the game, but they certainly didn't get a fair chance to tie the game, because when you run out of time on a last drive with 2 timeouts in your pocket, that's inexcusable. And there was a play where they let 25 seconds tick off the top of the clock for no reason. So when they got that first down at I believe it was the 40-yard line, they could have had 2 more plays. They could have had 2 more plays to get closer and to make it a more, doable field goal, and they messed it up. So I put that on Robert Saleh. I put that on the coach. He put it on himself. It took him a day to realize it, but he took accountability for it. And then again, the defense let the team down, or themselves down on one play, 4th and inches, and they gave up the big touchdown play. But again, they held them to 3 points all game, and the offense had 6 series in a row of 1, 2, 3 and outs. So there's only so much you could put on your defense and expect from them. But very, very close. I mean, had an opportunity to win that game. They've lost 3 in a row, and they've had an opportunity to win all 3. And that's what, I guess that's what you expect from a young team that's getting it together, that's getting better and improving. They just don't know how to win yet consistently. But I think this game represented that really well.
Okay, I have 3 quick questions for you, Chaos. 1, do you think the losing streak is now going to hurt Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner in their respective bids for Rookie of the Year?
Usually Rookie of the Year is not so much based on that. I've seen Rookie of the Years, on horrible teams win. But
I'm just asking because now a lot of people are adding not just Tariq Woolen and Crystal Olave and Christian Watson, but now they're going to add Aiden Hutchinson for the Lions and all these other people. So I'm saying the Jets have been the favorite all year long, especially when you guys had Breece Hall that was healthy. So I'm saying now that you guys are kind of struggling a bit, do you think that it might be harder for you guys to kind of finish the year with everyone thinking of them as the rookies of the year? I think they're deserving.
Yeah, it definitely might impact their bids for Rookie of the Year. And I'm going to be flat out honest. It doesn't really affect me that much. I don't know how much it means to them. No, because some fans it makes a big deal too. There are a lot of fans that'll be very upset if they don't get it. There are fans that are really into that stuff. I'm going to be honest. I don't. I want my guys to get respect. We want respect as a team, but if they don't get it because of that, then they don't get it. The reality is, it doesn't, to me, change the impact that Garrett Wilson has on the Jets and our future. It doesn't impact the impact that Sauce Gardner has on our future. And when you've been in this, a fan of the team for 40 years, without a ring, without a Super Bowl appearance, all those things just go to the wayside. I want this team to just get better. I want them to find a quarterback. If it's not Zach, then find them. And I want a Super Bowl because I've been waiting too long. So, will it affect their Rookie of the Year chances or bids? Maybe. Yeah, there's a possibility of it, but I'm not the one you're going to see screaming and crying about it. It's whatever.
Okay. My second question is, I know which former Niner on your team you have the most anger towards, which is Lincoln Tomlinson. Yeah. I gotta ask though, who's your favorite though? Is it Quan, DJ Reed?
Well, DJ Reed came from Seattle, but if he counts, because he came from the Niners originally,
he did play for the Niners
he played
too,
for the Niners originally. So if he's allowed and he counts, I'm definitely going to say Reed. Reed is definitely my favorite former 49er that's on the Jets right now, without question. I think a lot more people would be talking about him if it wasn't for Sauce Gardner. I think Sauce Gardner takes a lot of his hype away because everybody talks about Sauce Gardner, but if you look at Reed's numbers and his statistics, he probably might be the best acquisition, arguably anywhere in the NFL. If you look at all the free agent acquisitions, you could arguably put him up as one of the top acquisitions in the entire league. Certainly the Jets' best acquisition, not only this year, but probably if you looked at the Jets' last 5 years, I can't think of a free agent acquisition that's worked out as well as Reed.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like Bradbury and Darius Slay, or when Richard Sherman had Emmanuel Mosley and Ahkello Witherspoon for us in 2019. It's really nice to see this seasoned vet in a system and a young guy, and they're just playing so well together.
Yeah.
So that's a treat for me. And then my third question, and this one I'm sorry about, but do you think Robert Saleh is sort of having his Mike McCarthy moment? Because I mean, he's counting receipts, he's not using timeouts well, and it feels like it's getting a bit much for him. Like with all this defending Zach Wilson, like he's letting everything else kind of slip lately.
I think that he's grown since last year, but
Mm-hmm.
he's still got a little bit to go. He's definitely not the if they end up if he ever wins a Super Bowl as a coach, it's going to be he's going to look back at this and go, wow, I didn't, I had a lot to learn back then in that second year with the Jets. So I don't think he's fully who he's going to be as a coach. So I don't think it's going to end him. I think he's really good overall. I think he's got some great attributes as a head coach. I really believe that. I think he's going to make it as a very good coach in the NFL. But I definitely think he's far or off of his prime as a coach, right? So just like if you were thinking
it worries me the way he handles the New York media sometimes, that he has that sexy Rexy childish way about him, and I worry that's going to come back and bite Jet fans in the butt again, having that kind of mentality at your coach, where you take everything so personally and you just keep giving the media exactly what they want, which is sound clips they can go viral with.
Yeah, look, it's definitely the New York media has definitely victimized and harmed players and coaches in the past. I believe in him though. I think it's something that he has to grow and he has to learn to deal with it better. But I believe in him. I think he has an incredible character. I think that he has incredible character, and he has the respect of the entire league, players and other coaches. So I think he's going to be. I think he'll be all right. But he's definitely got to. He's got some growing to do. He's got to learn. I mean, he's a great coordinator, and now he's got to learn. This is a completely new job. But I think he took a big step from last year to this year for sure. So he did take a big step.
Oh, real quick, before Jay, we're going to go over your game next because you just said you got a jet in like 20 minutes. But I wanted to play a video Evan made for us today with the passing of Franco this morning. We don't really know why, though. It's really weird. But he was supposed to be at center. Oh, did he leave? I think he did. I don't know. But anyway, you guys still there or am I frozen?
I'm here.
We're here.
All right. Well, I'm going to play this video real quick. And then we'll talk about the Green Bay game. But, very somber kind of day in Pittsburgh today. But. All right. Anyway, just a somber day in Pittsburgh, I guess. Anyway, we'll talk about this Green Bay game next, Jay. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry I'm going to have to leave early here, but thanks for jumping ahead this. So as far as the Packers are concerned in this game, there were a lot of things I saw that I really liked. First and foremost, Christian Watson. This kid's going to be a star. This kid's going to be a star. He has the makings of an outstanding young wide receiver. Of course, it all depends on who throws him the football for the duration of his career. But if the stars align and he stays healthy, he is going to be a star. I really love Quay Walker. I think Quay has played really good football the last month and a half. Packers defense really, I thought, played one of their best games all season the other night. And granted, it was against the Rams. Granted, the Rams were rolling out their B and C squads out there. But, still, their defense stepped up and played really well. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. They not only have to run the table, but they need to get a lot of help from some other teams in their division and their conference as well. I just don't see that happening. But it was still great to watch that game. And again, Christian Watson, this kid's going to be a flat-out star. He's a stud. And we were also reminded the other night of how good Aaron Jones is, depending on how he's utilized. And it was just really fun to watch a game where the Packers didn't stink it up and, kick their own asses for a change. But fun game all the way around, and they have a tough one coming up in Miami.
Did you go down to SoFi?
I did. I went down to SoFi for the Fresno State and Washington State game, but I wasn't able to stay for the duration of the week to watch the Monday night game.
What is it?
Game
3
at
hours from your
Lambeau?
house?
Yeah, well, a little bit longer. About with traffic included, it's about 5.5, 6 hours.
I thought this game was played in Lambeau.
Oh yeah, it was in Lambeau. That's right.
Oh, it wasn't at SoFi? So I looked at the schedule wrong. Sorry.
No, what we both were mistaken. Yeah, it was at Lambeau. Melissa's right. But I thought this was again one of the best games the Packers defense has played all season long, and loved what Quay Walker did. And hey, Kenny Clark, man, showing what a stud he can be on the defensive line when he chooses to be. But it was a fun game. Just one of those games where I actually could just kind of sit back and say, hey, nothing invested in it, just watch and see what they can do.
Matt, you were shaking your head. What you got?
Kenny Clark's a stud, man. I'm a big boy. I like watching the trench play, and he's always been good. he's been good for a long time. I said it earlier in the show. If Green Bay wins out and they sneak into the playoffs, they're going to be dangerous. I think Rodgers,
Unless they face us. We own the Packers in the playoffs.
That's right.
The thing is, I think Rodgers is making this personal now because people have pretty much been saying all year long that, with the absence of Devontae Adams, that he wasn't the same, and the same can be said for Adams as well. I personally believe that they're going to win out, and I think that they're going to sneak in. They might be that number 7 seed, but if they get in, it's going to be trouble because the NFC is going to be a dogfight this year. Usually, every year the AFC
go through Lambeau if they are a 7th seed.
Yeah, but normally the AFC is a slaughterhouse, and this year it seems to be like the NFC could be. And not to be tongue in cheek about anything, but when Aaron Rodgers is wearing a Raiders uniform next year, I hope he gives the Packers one good run before he. Sorry, man, he's going to Vegas. There's a little bit of truth in every joke, and he joked about it a little bit too much.
I hear you. There's a little voice going off in the back of my head too that's saying that he's Las Vegas bound next season. I think this is it for Derek Carr in Vegas, but that's a different story for a different day.
Derek Carr is going to be somewhere over here on the East Coast, and Pittsburgh, Indy, one of the New York teams, maybe Tampa Bay.
Atlanta.
Yeah. Carr's going to be somewhere where they want him, and you might see number 12 with a Raider on his helmet in his his 40th year of life. It seems like I think Jordan loves a baller though. He came in a couple weeks ago and he was a pretty good quarterback. I think
he had Christian Watson on that crossing pattern, and Christian Watson did the rest.
See, this is what Green Bay does, and I'm not a Green Bay fan, but as an outsider, they draft these quarterbacks high and sit them down for like 3 years, and then all of a sudden they're 27 years old and entering their prime, and they have no damage to them, and they just go on these tears. Like Aaron Rodgers didn't play the first 3 years of his career, and he's playing at 40 like some guys are playing at 33, 34, and he's still, a great quarterback. He's not as mobile as he used to be, but the dude's I'd take Aaron Rodgers next year if it was feasible.
I'm a little more optimistic on Jordan Love than I have been the last last couple of seasons, and with a young Christian Watson there, who I think is going to be a star, that bodes well for them. I also like Romeo Dobbs, and I think Romeo Dobbs kind of got left out in the cold a little bit just because of injuries and lack of place on the roster. But there's a reason why they released Sammy Watkins. A, because he's overrated, and B, it's time to see what Romeo Dobbs could do.
He's suiting up for us on Saturday, so
there we go. But yeah, I think that the Packers definitely have some young, talented pieces in place to continue to build around those guys. And if they stay committed to Jordan Love, he already knows that system that Matt LaFleur is running. The best thing for them to do would be to, at this point, like you just said, let Rodgers go. I mean, star players are a dime a dozen. Guys move on. Cut bait with Aaron. You had a good run with him when you did. Hand the ball off to Jordan Love. Let's see what Romeo Dobbs, Christian Watson can do. They still have Aaron Jones under contract for another couple of years, I think. So they have Aaron in the fold there for a little bit. A.J. Dillon is a freaking man beast when they want him to be. So, yeah, give the ball to Jordan, those talented receivers there, revamp the offensive line. Green Bay could have a really quick turn of events and a real flip of the fortune here in the next couple of years if they stay committed to these young guys.
the NFC North is in trouble if y'all find a tight end that's worth a shit.
Damn right. I would personally like to get some guy named George Kittle, but that's just me.
No.
He's a lifelong 49er.
Yeah, I know.
He's a Niner, man. He ain't leaving the Bay.
No,
Hey.
I hear you. Yeah, he's a Niner for life.
Maybe Las Vegas can flip y'all Waller for Rodgers.
Hey, I'd take Darren Waller.
Now
Yeah,
you know
I'll take
who
Darren Waller.
Now you know who would be scary if he left his team to go to you.
Yeah.
Dawson Knox or David Njoku.
I would rather have Dawson Knox than Njoku. Yeah.
Njoku's solid though, man.
Yeah, but
Njoku does not get the respect that he deserves as a tight end, but as long as you don't get someone crappy like Ross Dwelly, who's just a barely there catcher, because the Packers need a complete tight end.
yeah, they do. It would be nice to have a right tackle back in there again too, because it sure as hell ain't going to be Bakhtiari anytime soon.
You mean left tackle or right tackle?
Oh, left. Sorry. Either way,
so
their whole offensive line.
Jenkins is definitely gone then, right?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. I have to ask you, what did you think of Aaron Rodgers' comments about Christian Watson again? Because it feels like as soon as he got like a win or two back under his belt, now he's throwing shit at his receivers again.
It is what it's Aaron. It's Aaron being Aaron. This is what he does, and this is why he frustrates the media so much, because they can't get a good read on what this guy is feeling. I think, just me personally as a Packers fan, in the clubhouse, this guy's probably kissing his receivers left and right, kissing them from head to toe. Publicly, I don't think he wants to put them high on a pedestal, and I think he's doing that for a couple of reasons. Number one, all the bad press that they got over the way the Devontae Adams situation was handled. Aaron really didn't disclose a lot about whether or not they felt they could win with or without Devontae. And it's obviously been a struggle without him in that receiving core. But Aaron's always a guy, though, Melissa, that's played his emotions very close to the vest. And he's never – yeah, well, I disagree. I think there are a couple times he hasn't. But overall – the guy's an a-hole. He knows it. The media knows it, and he likes it. That's just part of his persona. It's part of who he is. And he's never really going to –
The only reason I make that noise is because I haven't listened for how many
Matt
years
had
about
something to
him.
say. I could tell by the way he was moving.
I don't know if it's necessarily Aaron Rodgers is an asshole. He's more pretentious than anything else.
Oh, I think he's an a-hole.
Well, I mean, that's fair. That's just I like Aaron Rodgers because the thing is, when you've been that good for that long and you do have a Super Bowl ring on your finger, I mean, he probably should have 3 or 4 more.
Right.
But
He can't win the NFC Championship game. I'm sorry. The only person he's ever beaten is Jay Cutler for a half and Caleb Haney. That was one game.
Well, I also believe
That
that
he barely beat.
Green Bay has done a terrible job of putting at least somewhat decent defense on that team for years.
Yep.
When you go from having Donald Driver and Randall Cobb to Devontae Adams and Randall Cobb, and now Greg Jennings. Right, you've had top tier wide receivers throughout the entirety of your career.
Jordy Nelson.
Jordy
Nelson.
Jordy Nelson.
Michael
You had
Finley.
Bubba Franks.
Eddie Lacy. You had
Jimmy Graham for a while.
Yeah.
Think about this though. Out of all those players we named for the Packers, you can't think about who was other than Clay Matthews. Who was their
AJ Hawk?
AJ Hawk. Come on, man.
You had Charles Woodson who came back for a while. You had Charles Woodson who came back. You had Julius Peppers.
But that was their Super Bowl squad, though. I'm talking
Julius
about
Peppers was way afterwards.
We also had Zadarius Smith, who eventually went to the Ravens.
Okay. We're not talking about your Smith brothers because that's just going to create me to be a very petty person. And out of respect for Adam and his loss today, I am not going down the petty hole. But we're not bringing up your Smith brothers.
Well, the one Smith brothers leading the league in sacks right now in Minnesota. So,
however,
I'm sour about that.
I do have to ask you. Do you think Jair and Eric Stokes turn things around? Because they're two of the top corners, in my opinion, but they haven't been much lately.
I think they turned it. Are you talking about like the rest of this season, or just overall in general with their career?
Both, I suppose. I mean, Savage was really good for you for like what, a year and a half.
Yeah.
And then just he got in his head kind of like Ahkello Witherspoon, and he never got to get out of his own head again.
Yeah, I think to answer your question, Melissa, I think they will. And also they're playing for a defensive coordinator who couldn't find a penny in his own asshole, and that's Joe Barry. And they have a shitty defensive coordinator who doesn't coordinate at all. So that's part of it. But yeah, Jair and Eric are too good not to find their groove again. And Jair was showing a little bit of it in this game a few nights ago and then last week as well. So yeah, they're two of the best at their positions when they show up when they want to be. But I'm also kind of hoping that some of it's probably due just to the defensive scheme that they're playing in, which dare I say is not much of a scheme to begin with. The Packers, I think they're the worst. They're the worst rated run defense overall in the league, or one of the worst. I think they give up the second or third most yardage on the ground overall in the league. Their pass defense is near the bottom as well. I think they're ranked 20th or 21st. So, yeah, everything about their defense just
You're seriously that bad? I thought it was just special teams that you guys got worse, and you were supposed to have improved in that.
No, I don't have the stats in front of me right now, so I can't validate them. But I'm pretty sure our defense is down there overall.
Oh, I didn't know it was that bad. I just know run defense has been like your issue for like the last 5 years.
Yep. Makes a difference when we don't have the Colin Jenkins in there and all those guys to stuff to run the way they used to.
At least you don't have Kevin King anymore.
Bring back BJ Raji. God, I'll take BJ Raji right now.
Oh, that's a blast from the past. Holy crap!
I love the freezer.
Yeah, BJ Raji, baby.
That was a big boy, man.
Yep. Yes, he was.
There are two guys that were that big and can move, and always shock me the way they can move. And that was BJ Raji and Trent Williams. Like, you did not expect them to be.
Will Fork could move too, man.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember a guy by the name of Sam Adams, but Sam Adams was about 300. He was a 375-pound track star at defensive tackle, man. That guy could fly too.
Yes, I think you're talking about the beard, Jay.
See, but I'm not saying Vince Wilfork couldn't. It's in my head. I try to forget the Patriot years because I absolutely can't stand the Patriots. And then by the time that I could really root for Vince Wilfork, he was kind of at the end of his career when he became a Texan. Yeah. So for me, it's not that I want to disrespect him because I really, really love Vince Wilfork, and I think that story they shared about what he and his wife did after the Super Bowl to save that person's life was amazing.
Yeah.
But it's just in my head, I can't think about those Patriot years because it was so obnoxious. Like every year, you had them like pretty much written and penned to go to the Super Bowl because
Yeah.
the AFC just turned over for them that easily.
I almost forgot about my guy, Kabir Gabaja Biamila. Miss me some KGB.
He's pretty good on TV. I like watching him.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole of former Ravens defenders. I know you brought up Sam Adams, but Haloti Ngata was probably the fastest big dude I've ever seen in my entire life.
Right.
That dude was absolutely freakishly like the fact that he's in top 10 in interceptions in the team's history is ridiculous for a nose tackle.
Yeah, definitely.
You got a good right hook. Just ask Ben.
Yeah.
Okay.
Back when Ravens Steelers was actually good football.
That was a great.
So this is
time,
not about. So this is not about
yeah.
the Packers, but it is about a future Packer opponent. What did you guys think of Penei Sewell a couple of weeks ago having that huge first down catch? I
That dude's
loved
gonna be
it
really
so
good.
much.
Yeah, that was big. That was
He is going to be really good. He is a hell of an athlete. The dude is just going to be a dominant right tackle for a long time. Dan Campbell's got himself a baller over there in Detroit.
Yeah, whatever Dan Campbell's selling in Detroit, I'm buying. If I'm a Lions fan, which I'm not, but if I'm a Lions fan and a Lions player, whatever Dan Campbell is selling, I'm buying because it's working right now.
Didn't Aiden Hutchinson say when he was drafted he was taking him to the playoffs?
That's what he said.
That's what he did say.
Yeah.
And I believe they're on their way, right?
I think
They
so.
are right now the 9th seat or the 8th seat. I think it's either one's 8, one's 9 between them and the Seahawks. They're like right on the bubble outside because the Commanders and Giants tied that first time they played each other.
That tie's gonna screw them,
It might.
just like how the Steelers got in with that tie to Detroit last year.
So
Yeah, we tied Detroit. Let's not talk about this.
you know what? You
Jay,
can
how
hate on
pe-
Detroit all you
people get
want,
you,
but
buddy?
I love seeing the Detroit Lions ball this year. That is like my favorite team to watch right now, besides my team.
Yeah, guys, I got to go. Sorry
Jay,
about
how
that, Adam.
people
I
get you?
couldn't.
Bye,
Follow-
Jason.
Bye, guys. Follow me on Twitter at Dr. Jason. Adam, I promise next time I'm on, I'll spend longer than 45 minutes with you.
It's
That's
okay.
fine. You're always welcome back. You know that.
Merry
Yep.
Christmas,
You know that.
Jason.
You're always welcome
Merry
back.
Christmas, brother.
Yeah, Merry Christmas to
Merry
you guys as
Christmas,
well.
Jay.
God
And
bless
thank you
you
for
guys.
beating up on Baker Mayfield because we didn't need any more of that Hollywood story about him saving the Rams.
Right? It was my damn pleasure. All right. You guys have a good one. Until next time.
Likewise. Where's Evan,
All right,
man?
kids. I don't know,
Is
man. Text him and tell him to get his ass here. He's not responding to me. Send him a Twitter message.
Maybe he
back.
doesn't want to be with 2 other AFC guys. AFC North
Oh,
guys.
he wants to be. Believe me.
Yeah, he
Believe
wants.
me,
I know he
Evan.
wants. I know he wants to rub it in.
Matt, I did say Daniel People-Jones though.
Yeah,
Was gonna be the
I said it. I
surprise,
said it.
touchdown.
I said it on the preview show. That dude's a monster.
Wait, Donovan People-Jones had a touchdown?
Yeah, he
He had the only touchdown.
he's electric, man, and he's surprisingly big for. He doesn't look that big until they like pan the camera on him, but he's a hell of a receiver, man.
I've had my eye on Donovan Peoples-Jones and Dearness Johnson. Those were 2 of the players that I wanted the Niners to take a swing at so badly.
I wish we would have just drafted a receiver this year. I would have been happy with any of them. But
I never understood that. You guys got rid of Marquise Goodwin, and then you guys like did nothing to shore that up.
Well, the thing is, when we got rid of Hollywood, they were convinced that Bateman was going to be wide receiver 1, which early on he looked apart. You know, I think the Miami game he took a slant 75 yards to the house untouched, and then Duvernay fell off a cliff. He's hurt for the rest of the year. I think he broke his foot. He's done for the rest of the season. And then James Prochet was like supposed to take a huge leap this year, and he can't get out of John Harbaugh's doghouse. And if anybody that's a Ravens fan is listening to this show, when you get in the Harbaugh doghouse, you're pretty much there for good until the next season.
So it's like the Shanahan doghouse, but on steroids.
Pretty much. We had a running back, Mike Davis, that was running great against the New York Jets in week 1. He fumbled the ball, and I think he had like 3 carries the rest of the year until they released him. And we were struggling with running backs until Kenyon Drake signed in Baltimore.
I thought Mike Davis was a good running back.
He was, but dude, he if there's one thing Harbaugh hates, he hates running backs that run east and west. He wants them to run north and south. He wants you to get upfield and get positive yards. But when you got a 235-pound running back trying to hit the outside corner and he gets like stripped on a tackle, he didn't see the field again. And I don't think he got out of the carry the rest of the year. He might have had 1, but he's no longer on the team.
Okay,
Harbaugh's doghouse is legendary around here.
Matt, I gotta ask you, since there's another very prickly AFC North fan here who wants something different than Mike Tomlin. Do you or other Raven fans want to move on from John Harbaugh? Like, has the message gotten stale? Like, you need something kind of fresh at coach?
Yes. Okay. I'm glad you actually asked this because Adam and myself talked about this on the last time we were on together.
I can't talk about the game, but I can ask about this. And since it's the two of you, I thought it was a fair question to bring up.
Harbaugh's been here for 15 years. He won a Super Bowl with a team full of veterans. And a lot of the fan base kind of puts an asterisk in terms of the Super Bowl because that team was loaded with Hall of Famers. You had 4 on the defense between Reed, Suggs, Nada, and 3 on the defense. And then you had Marshall Yonda.
You're leaving out Ray.
Can we call him 52? And not
You're leaving out
the
Ray.
whole name.
Yeah, well, Ray. I thought I said Ray in first. 52 is the greatest inside linebacker of all time, but I'll leave that there. It's really not that hard,
right? Ed Reed, Nagata,
Suggs and Lewis,
and Lewis, right? Those are 4.
Yeah, 4 potential Hall of Famers. 2 already in, but it's really not. The thing is, a lot of the fan base attributed that Super Bowl to the defense having those leaders, and then just Joe Flacco having the best 4-game stretch of his entire life in the playoffs. So we've been 10 years since that Super Bowl. And honestly, Lamar Jackson saved his job in 2018 when Harbaugh was on the hot seat then. And this was 2 extensions ago. That bye week where Flacco got hurt, they changed the offense on the fly. And Lamar took us to the playoffs. It saved him. But the thing is, now he's very short with the media. He's very dismissive. He's very condescending. The coach speak is really starting to grow old with the fan base, and people want a fresh start. I truly believe that if we miss the playoffs, that Harbaugh's probably going to be out of here. And it's crazy to think because he's one of the winningest head coaches in the last 20 years. And there's the same situation in Pittsburgh that Adam can attest to where their message is growing stale and their shtick that they got away with in the early to mid 2010s is not working in 2022 going into 2023. And
when it came up, when I came up on Twitter that Tomlin could be traded to Carolina in the offseason.
I mean, it's not unheard of for coaches to be traded, but I really don't think Harbaugh. I think Harbaugh might do like a retirement I mean, when we hired him, he was 45 years old. He just turned 60 this year, and I think he's tired. You can see it in his mannerisms and his demeanor on the sideline. You can see it in his press conferences. And the thing is, he doesn't have the team to carry him the way that he did. And after that Super Bowl team, he wanted this team to be his. He had a bunch of choir boys on the team, no guys with edge. He let Ed Reed walk, released Bernard Pollard. Suggs became quiet. Ray Lewis retired. Haloti Ngata got traded to the Detroit Lions. So there was just a lot of things where he made this team his, and it completely went awry. And then to add insult to injury, Ozzie Newsome had a very mediocre to below average stretch of draft classes where he was awful. And we wasted a lot of draft picks on a lot of guys that did not pan out. Harbaugh's message is starting to get a little stale. People want a fresh start. If we're going to blow the whole thing up and DeCosta is going to truly have his team, you got to get rid of Harbaugh. You got to get rid of Roman. You got to get rid of Lamar Jackson. And I love Lamar Jackson. Don't get me wrong, but his marriage to the Ravens is ending. He's completely checked out. He didn't travel to Cleveland. He didn't travel to Pittsburgh until the day of. He's not been available to the media for any portion of the media availability practice time the last couple of weeks. He's regressed. He's having durability issues. Somebody's going to pay him, but it's not going to be us. Somebody's going to think that Lamar Jackson is the missing piece to their Super Bowl team, and they're going to trade a king's ransom to us to get him. And Baltimore's getting ready to go through their first true rebuild since 1998.
I think it's going to be good.
No. We're going to have a couple years where we might be at the bottom of the AFC North.
See, I think what really hurt you guys was you had a Dak Prescott moment where Lamar said all offseason if it didn't happen by the time this season started, he was going to make it a big deal, right? And then as soon as the actual year happened and he was winning a few games, you saw the signs like pay Lamar, and then he would take them out of the stands and he'd like pose with them or he signed them and everything, and it became like a big media spectacular. And it feels like every time it stops being easy, Lamar kind of quits. And I know there's been serious injuries and there's been the illnesses and stuff, but it's felt like it's been a toxic situation between him wanting to be a full quarterback and Roman and Harbaugh wanting to use him a different way. And a lot of the bad press has been on Lamar for why Marquise has been gone and why maybe top tier receivers don't want to go to Baltimore. And it feels like the ground and pound Ravens that I used to fear aren't the ground and pound Ravens that you are anymore. And it just,
Matt, this sounds like our conversation.
Here's the thing. The ground and pound, number one, the ground and pound offense is what the Ravens have been doing for the better part of 20 years in some form or fashion. There's maybe been a season or two where we had to stray from that formula. But here's the thing. In order to have a ground and pound offense where you beat teams into submission, you got to have a good defense.
Yeah, that's why you guys were the black and blue division. That's why everyone would circle their calendars. Like they could hate the Ravens, they could hate the Steelers, but together, like everyone was like, we have to always watch this matchup no matter what.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's kind of like watching San Francisco and Dallas, or the Giants and the Commanders, or the Vikings and the Packers. It's one of those games where you got to watch it. And Lamar wants the Deshaun contract. I'll just put it out there. The Browns completely mess up the market by giving Deshaun $240 million guaranteed dollars. And here's the
Oh
thing:
my
in the contracts that came after Deshaun Watson, Adam, I talked
Mhm.
about this on the show a while ago when I came on the first time. Kyler Murray got paid big time, but he didn't get Deshaun money. Russell Wilson has a Super Bowl ring and didn't get paid Deshaun money. The only person that got paid Deshaun money was Aaron Rodgers, but he was coming off of a back-to-back Super MVP run.
MVP run. Right.
Yeah, so
So I think
it's
that's the
hard.
worst thing that ever happened to Lamar Jackson. Quite honestly, the 14-year and the unanimous MVP thing. So he's like, I've been here every year. I never sat myself. I have this unanimous MVP that's never happened before. I got you guys to 14-2. I am that stud that everyone wants their quarterback to be now. And I think not only the fact that another young quarterback came into his division and got paid the way that he got paid, but I think that he wants that fully guaranteed contract, and I
And he's
don't
not
know.
going to get it here.
I don't.
Didn't
I
he turn
don't
down
think.
a contract offer, Matt?
I
He turned down
don't think.
$220 million guaranteed.
I
What
don't.
the reports were, at least.
I don't think that's gonna happen with anybody. I think only like the most desperate teams would do that, and even then, for Lamar Jackson, I don't see it. Like, it was a big deal when Kirk Cousins got that first fully guaranteed contract. Like, that had never been done before. And that was Kirk Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
But Kirk Cousins, for all his faults, mostly has been healthy and mostly is a pocket quarterback. I feel like with Lamar Jackson, it's not that he's not deserving of guaranteed money. It's just he's not a safe bet for a fully guaranteed contract, and I think that's what's going to be an issue with him.
And I'll give that to you. I'll give you the answer in the easiest way possible. Lamar Jackson is
We
in
like
the prime.
complicated shit here, Matt. Not easy.
I'm gonna make it easy. Okay, he's 26 years old. He's in the prime of his career. He's starting to enter his prime. But this
And
is
it
who he
doesn't help
is.
his mom as his agent either.
Well, that doesn't help. That's an outlier. But here's the thing: we have had Lamar out in the same offense for 4 years now.
Mm-hmm.
He took the league by storm in 2019, but the years following that, COVID, where he called it twice.
Mm-hmm.
2021, where he missed the last 5 games of the year with an ankle injury. Here we are in 2022. He's going on his 3rd game that he's going to miss because of his ankle or because of the knee, or it's a lower body injury. So
I think it's his knee this time.
He's regressed every single year from that 2019 campaign. He has regressed mechanically. He has regressed in almost every facet of the game. His rushing yards have been down.
The turnovers, though, that is what's so shocking.
He's been careless with the ball.
That Giants game, the way he turned over twice with Thibodeau in what was it, less than 40 seconds? It was under 2 minutes left in the game. That was appalling.
If you're Eric DeCosta and Steve Bisciotti, are you going to sink $50 million a year into that? You're going to have to pretty much let go of every veteran that's up for a contract or rookie that's up for an extension. And you're pretty much going to have to draft wide receivers every single year to keep talent around him into his 30s. And that is a recipe for disaster. The Ravens would have to treat Lamar Jackson like he's on a college team where every 4 or 5 years you're replacing wide receivers and running backs and tight
everybody.
Ends.
Yeah.
And the thing is,
I thought McSorley was a good backup for you guys.
But the thing is, McSorley he didn't have the arm strength. He couldn't make the outside throws just like Lamar. And Lamar's issue isn't arm strength; it's accuracy. So,
it's also playing hero ball.
The thing is, he tries to put the team on his back too much, and he's a fantastic quarterback. I think he's great, but it's a lot of the times when he tries to put the team on his back is when we need him to just move the ball down the field and not try to make a play every single snap.
Make the basic plays. Is that what you're
You-
saying?
Just make the throw, hand the ball off. There's no need for you to run around and scramble and try to pick up these, 8 yards and have 4 spins and a slide and a juke to round it everything out. We wanted, when it matters. Lamar's won 1 playoff game when it matters. It doesn't help
That's
that we
not good.
it doesn't help that we went to Buffalo and it was horrendous conditions.
I feel like
He-
Lamar and Kyler Murray are kind of cut out of the same cloth. They felt like
Oh, they're not even close to each other. Kyler Murray is one of the most overrated quarterbacks in the
no, no,
NFL.
no, no. I meant mentality
Absolutely
wise.
not. I completely
And
agree.
what I mean by that is I feel like they both like to play hero ball way too often. They both heard their whole lives that they're these hybrid freak athletes that could run, right? I feel
Yeah.
like neither of them have the best like tangibles, like like the best footwork, the best consistency, and when they did get to the playoffs, after all the hype of getting to the playoffs, they both looked abysmal in the playoffs, like the first couple go arounds. And I feel like they get way too into the good that's said about them, and then they take the what's bad said about them way too much to heart.
No, you're right. And the thing is, to kind of round out the playoff thing, when we lost to Tennessee, Lamar Jackson had 500 yards of total offense between passing and running,
Yeah.
and the defense couldn't close that game out. So I don't put that game on Lamar. Lamar had, I think, 360 in passing and 120 in rushing, and I think he had 3 touchdowns. So there's not really much more you can ask the guy to do, and the defense folded like a lawn chair. But Lamar's definitely, he's definitely not long for Baltimore. I think we just got to find a sucker that's going to give us something close to what the Texans got for Deshaun Watson, and I think we'll trade him. I think we'll tag and trade him, and that'll be the end of Lamar Jackson's tenure as a Raven. And I hate to say it, man, but he's going to be in another uniform next year. And whether he's in New York or whether he's in Atlanta or Florida or wherever, Texas, somebody's going to pay him an exorbitant amount of money to play quarterback.
So, do you see him going to the NFC South next year?
It's possible. I think if Tom Brady leaves, I could see him going to Tampa Bay.
I think it's either going to be Tampa Bay or Atlanta.
The thing is, he's not going to walk as a free agent. We're going to tag him.
No. I
Yeah.
know you guys are going to either like force the tag on him or trade him on like a 1-year, 2-year deal, and then let the next team kind of sort out what he wants as a contract. Like what the Niners try to do with Jimmy Garoppolo before he screwed us over with his shoulder surgery right before free agency. But I feel like even if you're not set on Lamar as your long-term future, I know there's a lot of quarterback needy teams in the AFC. I just don't see them wanting to keep him in the same conference.
If they have the opportunity, they'll deal him to the NFC. There's no doubt in my mind. I believe that Tampa Bay honestly has more.
I have not even looked at next year's cap room, so I have no
I'm not
idea.
even talking about cap room. I think they have more of what we'll want. They have 3 very good wide receivers down there. I think that if you throw one of them in, and then you throw
That
a couple
defense,
ones,
though, that defense, if you could pick some of their defenders off, that would be huge.
or like you said, the defense, like Shaq Barrett is from Baltimore. I worked with his brother, and if you can get Shaq Barrett in Baltimore with a couple ones, I think you got to pull the
Devin
You
White.
I don't think Devin White, but I mean because we got 2 really good middle linebackers, but if you can get Shaq Barrett and maybe one of those cornerbacks down there plus a couple ones, I think the Ravens do it in a heartbeat.
I mean, it'd be huge if you could steal Vita Vea away.
Yeah, Vita Vea is not going nowhere. That's
I said if. I said if.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's a huge thing because I mean, I don't see the Buccaneer fans wanting to lose Bruce Arians, miss the playoffs, maybe lose Brady, and then not have like any kind of offensive future.
Well, they're winning the division right now, right? They're leading the division. This is a
Yeah.
god awful division. I think we talked about that. I think last week, didn't we, Matt?
Yeah, if the Ravens were in the NFC South, they'd win in the division every year. Talk about a cakewalk, man. If you got a halfway decent team, you're winning that division every year.
Aren't they
Every
only
year.
like 6 wins and the rest of the entire South has 5?
Yeah, it's a
And,
beast.
and if somehow, like, I think the Panthers will only have to beat the Buccaneers again, and then
Yeah.
they could steal the South away from them.
One of my really good friends is a Panthers fan, so I hope that doesn't happen.
Oh man!
It looks like Evan's
you-
not going to join us, bud.
Could you imagine what that storyline would be like if Steve Wilkes got fired from Arizona because of Josh Rosen, and then he took that crazy storm in Carolina and brought them to the playoffs? You don't even have to win, I don't think, and that would be like the hugest story ever.
Hey, that might be a written for Hollywood story, but I want to see Brady get in the playoffs just for the chaos.
Right. All right. Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Evan. I just texted him again. So, Matt, what happened Saturday?
We didn't score any touchdowns.
Well,
I'm disgusted with it, honestly. Justin Tucker had a blocked field goal and a missed field goal.
Whoa! Again?
Yeah, he missed 2. He was 1 for 3.
Whoa!
the one he kicked right into the guy's helmet or forearm
Yeah.
or something.
It was just bad conditions. It was snowing, wind was blowing.
No.
It
That's
was
like that's remarkable. What was it, like 2-3 weeks ago, where he went for like that 60-some yard
It
field
was,
goal?
it was
and
almost 70.
it was
Yeah.
short.
It was short by like maybe 10 feet.
Oh,
You
my
know,
goodness.
the team is in a bad spot, even at 9-5. They're in a bad
Mhm.
spot right now because Cincinnati's picking up steam. Cleveland, you gave them hope and you gave them life. Luckily, this year we can't finish under 500, so I'll take that. But I truly believe that we might finish the year 10-7, which is far off from my earlier predictions in the year. But Cleveland just played a good football game, man. They controlled the clock. They had turnovers. They played good defense. They played just well enough to hold us to a field goal.
Go ahead, Melissa.
Now, I didn't watch this game because, like I said, I hate 4 and I hate fans of 4 and everything that has to do with that particular team. Even though I love the other players on that offense. But didn't Greg or was it Denzel Ward that had a pick in this game?
Oh man.
Yeah, he picked off that interception.
Yeah.
Down, he ripped it out of Deshaun Jackson's hands.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was the interception. We were running the ball all over.
That was
them.
Matt. That was on the drive. I think Ward intercepted it at the 10.
Yeah, I think it was at the 10 or 11 yard line. But what Greg Roman does is his arrogance gets in the way of coaching. You were running the ball. You were running the ball all over Cleveland. They could not stop our run game. J.K. Dobbins was averaging almost 9 yards a carry.
He forgets the run game, and he wants to prove that he can be an all-around offensive coordinator.
And we went away from the run, and we lost. At this point, I got to laugh so I don't cry. But that's pretty much where I'm at with it.
He did the same thing to you guys in that Titans game in divisional round in 2019.
He's been doing it to us for 4 years. He's been
I,
doing
I
this for 4 years. There's no reason why Greg Roman is still in the booth for us. He
you
should
know
have been
what?
gone a long time ago.
Niner fans tell me like he got us to 3 straight NFC Championship games, that he got us to a Super Bowl. That I should be happy with Greg Roman, but you know what? He's been a cancer everywhere he's been. He was a cancer to the Niners, he was a cancer to the Bills, and now he's a cancer to the Ravens.
I was hoping that Stanford would hire him so we could leave. He would just leave town, but
I wished he would go to Michigan so he could go with Jim Harbaugh and be happy together
Well,
with Harbaugh again.
Jim Harbaugh is going to be the Indianapolis Colts head coach next year, so it's okay.
Is that your bold prediction right now?
That's a bold prediction that Jim Harbaugh is going to be on the sidelines of the Indianapolis next year because this Jeff Saturday experiment is over. It's been over, but it's really over after Saturday.
That was bad.
That
miserable.
was brutal. But yeah, man, that's how I feel about the game. There wasn't a whole lot of good to take from it, and outside of a couple guys playing their asses off, it was just not.
The wind was really bad.
But it's football, man. You're in Cleveland.
If you watched
though.
the
What do you
snow
expect?
coming down, that was pretty cool.
What do you expect in Cleveland in mid-December? Like, come on.
Now I got a question for you. Do you think that your defense gets blown up? Because you
Yes.
guys got a lot of old and a lot of money on the defensive line with Calais Campbell and all those guys that you brought in.
My
And they're
theory
always
is
hurt too.
my theory is the Ravens defense looks a lot different next year. I think even though Calais Campbell is playing some of the best ball of his career, I think Calais Campbell hangs it up this year. We're not going to bring back Justin Houston. We're not going to bring back Jason Pierre-Paul. I think Justin Madubuike gets paid.
Don't trust GPP. He's
No,
like the one
I
thing
like
I'm
him.
rooting for on your defense.
No, I like him. I like him, but I don't think he's going to be back. I think Madubuike is going to get paid by somebody else. If Brent Urban comes back, it's on a cheaper deal. The linebacking core is going to look a lot different. Josh Bynes is going to be gone. Malik Harrison's probably going to be gone. Somebody's going to pay him pretty good money. We got Patrick Queen on his rookie deal still. We're going to pay Roquan
Did you guys
Smith.
pay? Oh, okay, so you haven't paid Roquan yet.
We're going
I
to.
still love your free safety draft pick in that first round, Hamilton.
Oh, yeah, Kyle Hamilton's going to be around. Marcus Williams, we just gave $12 million a year to. Marcus Peters is going to be gone. Yeah,
I said that on your show, Matt.
Yeah.
So scared of him being there.
Yeah, he's a freak of nature, man. He's 6'4", 230 pounds of safety, and he runs like a cornerback and he hits like a linebacker. And he's a short tackler in the field, in an open field. But the defense is going to look a lot different, though. You're absolutely right. The defense is going to be completely different. Unless Marcus Peters takes about a 75% pay cut, he's not going to be here next year. And I do believe that we're going to rebuild the defense with some younger guys for the draft. We do have Tyus Bowser coming back. You know, he signed a 4-year contract extension. Ojabo is going to be healthy next year. Oweh's still in his rookie deal. So we're going to have a lot of the same pieces, but you're going to see a couple new starters on the team. I think that the kid Jalen Armour-Davis from Alabama is going to be our starting cornerback opposite Marlon next year. And Pepe Williams is a pretty good cornerback. So I think that we're going to see a youth movement, especially on the defensive line. I think that Travis Jones might be the only interior holdover. I think everybody else is either going to get paid or they're going to be gone. So it's going to be a rough defense next year, unless the young guys step up immensely.
So you're just predicting rebuild after Lamar experience is completely over.
Yes,
but that defense needs it. Like if there's like one defense that needs to be blown up, it's the Ravens defense. Because I mean, isn't that like what both of your teams are known for in the Black and Blue division? Run game and defense, and it feels like you're barely holding on to either identity and not really covering either one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a rough rebuild, but I think we'll get there in a couple of years.
Alrighty, kids. Would you guys want to do rapid fire for the next games, or do you want to break them down?
We can do rapid fire. I like that idea.
I'm just curious because I know you have to work in the morning, Matt, and you get up at 4 o'clock, whatever it is, and
Yes,
it's
sir.
now 11.
Hey, I'm cool. I'm one of those guys where I can sit anywhere comfortably and fall asleep
Yeah, you're
wherever
like
I'm
me
at.
then.
It's an uncanny ability, especially now that I'm a mid-30s Papa Bear. It's like if I get that little lean like this, and I get like a little cool breeze, or I get like that sweet spot, I'm out. So my wife is still probably not asleep yet, but I'll be asleep if I lay in bed at 11:15, 11:18. I'll be out.
Jesus. All right. I like the signs of Jalen Warren in this game. He's gonna be a 1-2 punch with Najee as soon as they figure them out.
I hope
Was
Najee
this-
doesn't
Is
play.
Mr. Trubisky our answer? No.
That dude
Was
is a
this the
turnover
Steelers
machine.
Panthers game?
What's that?
Are we talking the Steelers Panthers game?
I just wanted to throw that out there. Jalen Warren looked good, and Mitch Trubisky. I don't know what this experiment is.
This should be over.
Right. But
Steelers Panthers game. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for Steelers Nation. I'm thoroughly disappointed in the Panthers. That's my
I mean,
thoughts.
Devontae Freeman he's good, but he's not what he was with Atlanta.
I want to see the Panthers defense win because they got so much heart and fire, but that offense is just so awful and inconsistent.
Right? Matt, any good thoughts for Steelers?
No. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No.
You caught me off guard there. It's
Give
really
me
hard.
one.
It's really hard to talk about the enemy in a positive light. You know,
I talk about your team in good light, though.
you do. I like what you guys are doing up there on offense in terms of your playmakers, but I'm just happy that you haven't figured out quarterback because, as we know, for the last 15 years, when you guys have the quarterback situation figured out, it is always a pain in the ass to play you guys. Whether we're in Heinz Field or we're at the bank, it doesn't matter. I do have an affinity for good tight end play, and I think Freiermuth is the next great tight end in the NFL
Keith
once
Miller
he gets
type
Thank
deal.
you.
once he gets a quarterback that can get him the ball consistently, he'll be fine. But
Thank
it also
you.
it doesn't help when Trubisky tries to throw to Freiermuth and he throws to the other team. I do
like he did against you guys, 3 picks.
Yeah, and 2 in the red zone, which was like they were just momentum killers. You guys drove the field, and then Trubisky throws 2 picks inside the 20.
Yeah.
I can't believe anyone thinks that guy is worth being a starting quarterback.
But the thing is, Pickett is inconsistent, and Mason
He's
Rudolph
a
shouldn't.
Okay. What would you
He's still
rather
a
struggle
rookie.
with? A rookie quarterback who's learning on the job, or a veteran making the same mistakes over and over and over again? Because this feels like the Niner quandary that we had to deal with after Trey Lance went down. I'd much rather deal with whatever hiccups a rookie gives you and starts to learn from them than have a guy who's nearly 30 years old and still throwing to every linebacker in sight. Interception after interception after interception.
It's double-edged sword. It really is. I'm just
Right.
happy that it's not in Baltimore, even though we're worse off right now. We're worse off right now, so
I think it's the nicest thing you
Could
can
always
get
give
out
Joe
of.
Flacco that used contract and then send him to McDonald's.
yeah. Hey, look, Joe, I have a soft spot for Joe. The fact that he's still playing right now is amazing.
Oh, he went to Keystone Oaks. I was supposed to go to that high school.
Technically, he's not playing because they yanked the keys away and they gave them back to Zach Wilson because they were sick of seeing Joe Flacco. in New York.
It's a miracle he's still playing. He's been in New York. He's been in Philly. He's been in Denver.
Oh God,
know,
Denver.
I
Wasn't
actually
that the
have
same time they had Teddy Bridgewater up there, and that was that whole big mess between the two of them?
I think so. But I know we traded
that
him
was
to
a shit
Denver
show.
for like a 5th round draft pick or something like that.
God, that was a shit show.
Good old Joe. Adam, I got to get rolling, buddy. Do you want to do the quick fire, or are you gonna?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, my man. Sorry about that.
Eagles,
I apologize.
Chicago. No, that's fine. You got to go to work. I get it. That's why I asked you what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on
Chicago
this game?
choke jobs. The Eagles win. Woohoo!
I just can't
Chicago
wait for the Eagles to
chokes.
go.
Eagles win. Woohoo!
Justin Fields is going to be a good quarterback. I can't wait to see what he does with a competent group around him.
I think Justin Fields is going to be good too. It's
Didn't
just taking
also
him a little
Chase
bit.
Claypool sit this week?
Yeah, I think he was hurt.
I did not see
They
that.
cannot catch a break with offensive weapons on that team.
All right, next game.
Oh,
Chiefs,
man.
Houston, overtime thriller. Couldn't believe it.
Patty Mahomes is something special, man. That dude is legit. If he doesn't win
For
like
sure.
3 more or 4 more Super Bowls, then there's something severely wrong, because that dude just makes anybody look good. And their defense
Certainly
is
making
playing
Jerick
ahead.
McKinnon look like a genius.
Jarek McKinnon is looking good. Isaiah Pacheco's looking good. Nobody knew who Pacheco was, and
Andy
he just
Reid.
he's making Juju look good. Valdez Scantling looks like he's competent as a pass, and Travis Kelce's just on another level, man.
That dude's always going to be on that another level, though.
It's like he gets better as he gets older, which is ridiculous.
Right?
And he's slow though. That's the thing. He's got quickness, but he has no straight line speed.
Okay.
He just knows how to.
My thoughts.
Go ahead. real quick.
My thoughts, real quick, are the Texans feel like the Lions, where they were always close or had the lead, and they just can't close games. I feel bad for Lovie Smith. And I hate the Chiefs, and I hate that they got away with this, because I feel like them and the Cowboys should have lost the last 2 games to the Texans. But congratulations, Patrick Mahomes and Dead Legs. You won another game.
And the upset of the day, the Cowgirls lost to the Jaguars.
Yay! Yay. Sorry, I knocked my phone over.
Dallas is gonna be Dallas. They are going to choke when it matters.
I couldn't believe it. I was at my Christmas party watching this. Like, is this really happening?
Dallas is always going to be choke artists.
Can I just say how sweet it is that Dak Prescott threw the interception to end the game in overtime?
$40 million of mediocrity.
After all that talk about him being the best quarterback in the NFC and the NFC East and all this nonsense that we've had to put up with all year long from all the Cowboy hopefuls, Dak Prescott came back, and he's so much worse than Cooper Rush, and I am loving every last second of this.
Were we expecting another tie in this game? Falcons, Saints.
Good for New Orleans. I root for them occasionally. I like some of the. I really wish they would just trade us Alvin Kamara. Dude's just freak of nature. I think Atlanta just keeps on shooting themselves in the foot.
Wait, you want Kamara after what he did at the Pro Bowl in Vegas?
It was a fight. I mean, I have a little bit of a different stance on fights. I've been working in prison the last dozen years of my life, so I've seen way worse over way less. Should he have gotten in a little bit more trouble? Yes, but his legal troubles aren't over. You know, these guys are humans just like the rest of us. But I'll take Alvin Kamara before I'll take somebody like
Mark Ingram again.
But I loved Mark. I just think that he the wheels were falling off by the time he got here. He had one great year where he ran for over 1,000, but yeah, I like some of the players down there. I'm a Taysom Hill guy. I think he's like one of the best gadget dudes in the league. I like Pete Werner, their outside linebacker. I like Marshawn Lattimore. So I like individual guys down there, but good on them. Oh, I see that you moved to New England and Vegas.
I clicked it by accident and I just didn't move it.
That was a funny game.
Okay, can I just say something real quick about the Saints Falcons game?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not shocked. I still think the Saints should have won that Buccaneers game, and it feels like it's Atlanta once again not wanting to win the South. And isn't Desmond Ridder coming in now officially as a starter because of how bad Mariota's been over the last couple of weeks?
I think Mariota's hurt.
Either way.
Yeah, I think he's got knee surgery.
So congratulations, Saints, and Who Dat Nation.
I had Desmond Ridder going to the Falcons, just not in that pick they had. I had him going 5th overall to the Falcons. I thought that's how bad they needed a quarterback.
This is not the Daniel Jones and Dwayne Haskins draft. Like, people are not going to keep reaching for these quarterbacks that they don't believe in.
I know, but with how talked about they were, I just that's where they were going to go.
Wasn't Malik Willis was supposed to be like the only first round quarterback that went in this draft, and it ended up being Kenny Pickett to the Steelers?
And then Malik Willis
you have to move up for
what, 5th round?
You have to move up for. So
nothing makes me
Hamilton.
Nothing. Hey, let it go, man. He's in purple and black. Nothing makes me happier than seeing Bill Belichick's team play so grossly and carelessly that it could literally call. And then, out of all people to return the touchdown is Chandler Jones, who Belichick didn't deem worthy of a payday. And I'm cool with that.
How bad do you think this plane ride was home?
Oh, it was probably the plane ride from hell.
I don't know who probably got it worse, McCorkle Jones or Jacoby Myers.
Belichick he probably grumbled at both of them and left them alone. Made him sit all the way back where the stewardess sits. They probably didn't get it.
So we touched on it earlier, and my only other thought about this game is who's the first domino to fall? Is it Tomlin, Harbaugh, or Belichick? I feel like all three of them need to get the hell out of their organizations to save them from
It'll be Tomlin.
Mediocrity.
Belichick's got way too much. Belichick's got way too much power in New England to just up and leave.
I think Tomlin's a lot closer than people think.
Yep, Tomlin's probably going to go first.
I think Tomlin wants out of here too.
Tomlin followed by Harbaugh.
I'm not saying that he doesn't. It's just I feel like the Steelers might be the hardest because you guys just don't go through coaches. I mean, you've had 4 coaches in the last 50 years or something like that.
It's just time to move on. I mean,
I'm not saying it's not, Adam, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't feel that way. I'm just saying, like, you guys created the Rooney Rule. You're big on always using Tomlin as like the mastermind, as like the one black head coach all the time that has success. You guys don't move on from coaches easily. He's never been under 500. Like, all these things. That's why I fear like Mike Tomlin's going to be the hardest to get out of the organization unless he moves heaven and earth.
He has killed the whole mentality of winning Super Bowls.
I get it.
That's all we care about.
It.
Well, we used to care about. Now we care about being above 500.
I get it. You guys were the first team to have 6 Super Bowls. You guys were the true title town, and then the Patriots took over, and now I'm not saying that it doesn't need to happen. I'm just saying because of all those factors, it's just very hard for me to see, unless Tomlin asks for it, that it won't happen. Or as fast as you would want it to.
Matt agrees with me a little bit. Just like I think Harbaugh needs to go too, but that's just me. I mean, you think about, here's the funny thing, okay? Like, you listen to these Cleveland fans saying Kevin got to go. Kevin got to go. He's
Yeah.
been there, what, 3 years? And he hasn't had a real starting quarterback the whole time?
I think he's the longest tenured Browns coach in their modern history.
And before that, think about this one. Ben Roethlisberger had a better record than your home starting quarterback at your house. Ben's starting record was better than the Cleveland Browns record, and they play 8 games there a year.
Yep.
That's not really saying much. Weren't the Cleveland Browns like the number 1 overall pick like 5 or 6 years in like an 8-year span?
Trent Richardson was a bust. Every quarterback they picked was pretty much a bust.
Brandon Whedon, Johnny Manziel,
Johnny Football,
Deshaun Kaiser.
You know,
Yeah,
I
it
knew
just-
that. I knew that guy was gonna be a bust the second that he had Outback remix on the man on the man on the man on the man. I just knew.
Does anyone
that
give a shit
Manziel
about
was
this game?
what game?
No,
Cardinals, Denver.
no.
Denver won. Cardinals are now on their 3rd quarterback. Hard Knocks once again.
There's your quarterback. Trace McSorley is just a quarterback right now.
Hard Knocks in season is once again cursed because the Cardinals have fallen apart and the Colts fell apart last year. I feel bad for JJ Watt that this probably is the end of his career and this is how it's going to end. And it's documented.
That man shows.
And
to
it's
go there.
documented.
I don't feel bad for him. He chose to go there. He had every opportunity to go play with a contender.
And he had every opportunity to play with his 2 brothers.
Yes, he did.
And I didn't see much of this game, but Brett Rippon seemed like a far more competent quarterback than Russell Wilson. So those are my thoughts.
I thought this game would have been more high scoring, to be honest.
I don't like Justin Herbert.
I know. I'm just saying, though, like, I thought this game would have been more high scoring than 14-17.
I don't like the Titans, and I think Justin Herbert's overrated. That's all I got to say about that.
Okay. I will say this. Tannehill is not the answer. And a lot of people keep telling me that Ryan Tannehill is what they need to win, and they're ripping Malik Willis, but Tannehill, I feel like, is always that linchpin that holds back this offense. You know, like, if Derrick Henry isn't perfect, then that offense can't do anything. And with Taylor Lewan always being injured, I think this entire offense needs to be blown up. And as for Sherbert, I'm not sure if he's overrated or not. But I do think that he needs Brandon Staley out of LA because the guy with his analytics is just he makes that team unbearable to watch. Like, it's hard to get into Charger games.
Austin Eckler's fun to watch when he gets open, though. Any more thoughts? This game, I really wanted Tampa to win because it is an AFC division game.
I was pissed off watching that whole second half. So
Cincinnati!
I can't stand Joe Burrow. I can't stand Jamar Chase. I can't stand orange and black. I'm a diehard Orioles fan, and they made me hate the colors.
I actually prefer the all white Bengal uniforms. I thought that
Yeah,
was
they
so
should
cool.
just switch to that because I can't.
I didn't like how the orange is in the outline of the names in the back. Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
It really ruined the jersey, I thought.
I really love the all whites, especially when the B
Right.
in the middle of the
I
field was
love
white
the
and
all
then the
white in
end
the
zones
front,
were
but
white.
then showed
They
that
always
stupid
gotta have
little
some
ball.
kind of color rush, whether it's a stripe on the shoulders or around the numbers or around the names. It's a Nike thing.
Well, no,
It's
they just put
the
the
same
orange
thing
in
with
the
the
jersey
whiteout
and
and the
makes it look
blackout
stupid.
logos on the hats. It's just weird. But either way, I'm happy Tampa Bay lost. I'm happy Joe Burrow and the Bengals not only came back but completely destroyed them after being down 17 points. And I'm so happy for Joe Mixon because I feel like he's dealt with so many bad Bengal teams. Like, it's nice to see him be on a good team.
You're not going to get any love in your segment here right now, just to let you know.
I'm not asking you to.
No.
I'm like really I realize I'm with two AC North guys right now, so I'm really trying to like temper down my excitement over the Bengals win.
You should have no excitement for a Bengals win.
No.
None
I-
whatsoever.
I really want a Bengals Niners Super Bowl in Glendale, Arizona. If I'm
I
being
hope y'all
honest.
win. I hope y'all win. I hope y'all like. I will root for y'all. I will buy a 49ers flag and hang it outside my house. The Cincinnati Bengals deserve nothing in life. Nothing.
I am
They're
not. I
pitiful.
am not a fan of this fucking team either.
They you know.
I also really
love.
love DJ Reader.
And I hate Eli Apple with a passion.
Oh, okay. So that I can agree with you three, and everyone else in the entire world. Like, I cannot stand Eli Apple. You know, I don't know if you ever saw it, but he was drafted to the Giants, and my dad is a diehard Giants fan. And when they were talking about how this kid couldn't even make toast by himself, and his mom got the media job like right away, it's just, I don't think I've ever liked Eli Apple for a single day of his career. And the very fact that Lando Collins had to like apologize to him because he went to the Mariners and complained about being bullied, it just really pissed me off.
Here's how I feel about Eli Apple. When he was playing against the Giants, when he was on the Giants playing against against the Chicago Bears,
Mm-hmm.
he made fun of Tariq Cohen for being 5'5", and the next play he tore his ACL. I thought that was the most poetic justice you could possibly get. You're gonna bully a dude on the field for his height, and then you're gonna tear your ACL, and then you get absolutely cooked by almost everybody in prime time. So I have nothing but I do
Wasn't Brian Westbrook 5'5" too?
But he was one of the greatest return men of all time.
Right, and he was a pretty good running back out of the backfield.
Yes, he was.
Like catching the ball anyway.
Eli Apple's an asshole, so that's
he's a baby. He's an absolute baby, and I think the worst thing that ever happened with Eli Apple, I don't believe it was the Chiefs game. I believe, who did they play in the divisional round? Was it the Titans? He had one like block or some kind of positive play for once in his miserable life, and he became like this nauseating storyline all the way into the Super Bowl.
Yep.
The comeback of Eli Apple.
I did not watch this game. I was driving home from the basketball event, so I don't know anything that happened in this game right here. So don't ask
the Commanders
me
and Giants?
Yeah. Someone said it got a little dramatic at the end, but I didn't see it. So I don't
Taylor
know.
Heineke became a Russell Wilson, Matt Ryan like character who turned the ball over way too much. Kayvon Thibodeau probably had the best game of his career, and it didn't end in a tie. That's all I can pretty much say about this game.
Yes, what she said, because there's not really much to talk about with these two teams.
So I didn't miss anything. Is that what you're saying?
Bingo.
Pretty much.
Folks,
I'm sorry. Saquon Barkley was playing hard for his career, his payday this offseason, and that flame is out. Daniel Jones sucks. Taylor Heineke is struggling, even though he has tons of offensive weapons, and neither of these defenses, one is like uber stacked and one is led by Wink Martindale, who I love what he's done, but it's There's
can't-
nothing exciting on either side of the ball for either of these teams.
I can't wait to see Saquon in a Buffalo Bills uniform next year. Anyway,
Melissa, how people get you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at NJ49IZZY.
Matthew.
you can find me at BWATB Podcast on Twitter. I'm in the process of revamping my Instagram page that was deleted by Mark Zuckerberg. So I will be on there relatively soon, but you can catch me on Bearded Wholesome All Things Baltimore on all the major streaming platforms, and you can catch me on Twitter with my best friend Josh Merrill at BigJDM15. We are the Charm City Heavyweights, and we will be doing our Atlanta Falcons show in the next day or two. Got some pretty good guests for that show.
Coming up, right?
Yeah, I managed to snag a couple good guests for that show, so stay tuned for that, guys.
You guys playing on Christmas Eve or Christmas?
Christmas Eve.
I'll be at the Raiders game on Christmas Eve.
Be safe, folks. Merry Christmas and
Merry
happy
Christmas,
holidays.
Matt.
Thank you
We'll
for giving
talk.
us Jason Pierre-Paul again, because I missed him in this league after the Tampa Bay Buccaneers threw him away like the Giants did.
Hey,
I'm
he's doing
sorry.
pretty good for us.
You seem like a really nice guy, and I want to be nice to you. It's just I can't stand your team.
It's okay. I
can't.
mean, I understand Super Bowl 47 still probably burns your soul. So
it's not the Super Bowl. It's the Turkey Bowl. In 2013,
it's there.
It's the horrible legacy and always being the lesser horrible, mostly because of Greg Roman. It's that you couldn't even hear anything nice about Patrick Willis because there was another 52 that was always overshining him, and I have major issues with Ray Lewis.
It sounds more like jealousy, Matt.
It is, but the thing is, Patrick Willis was great.
It's partly jealousy, but it's also like the Ravens were like so in your face obnoxious. Like, I think the last Ravens team I truly enjoyed was that like 2000s Ravens when you had Saragusa and you had all these guys that you could root for and you could like that balanced out that balanced out the assholes. And now it's just either you get like a bunch of assholes or you just get a bunch of like vanilla guys. Like it's really not the same when it comes to the Ravens. And yes, I'm a bit bitter because as an adult, that was like the first opportunity for me to see a Super Bowl for the Niners, and I really hoped we won, and we didn't win.
Can't win them all.
So yes, there's some jealousy, but there's other issues with the Ravens and me.
It's all good, Melissa. It's all
good. You're absolutely right.
But I can root for Jason Pierre-Paul. That I can do and not lose a wink of sleep about. So
I am not playing my closing video tonight. We are going to watch the Franco Harris video again because I forgot to change my video. Well, it still has Gina's show on there, and I forgot to take it off. I fixed the other guys, but not mine. But Matt, it has been fun and real, and I will definitely catch up with you.
Absolutely.
We have a lot to
talk
talk
to see you again.
And if
happy holidays to anyone who's in the chat or watch this later. And
we don't get it.
We hope you both have a nice holiday.
Remember, like and subscribe. I always forget to say that. Matt, do you forget to say that on yours sometimes?
Sometimes I do.
Then you're like, did I say it? Did I not?
I'll just write it on the caption in a separate tweet.
On a banner.
Yeah.
I like it. All right, kids.